How to make Active Ragdoll in Unity. First, let's see what we're starting with. I have this character with a simple animator, only have idle and running animation. And I have a transition between both of them with a condition and no exit time. And here both of them running. Now let's start building the Ragdoll. First, select your character, duplicate it, and create a new empty parent for both of them. Disable one of the characters you have, and remove the animator component from the other one. This will be the one we control with physics. We will have two characters, one using animation and the other one using physics. Now select all the bones you wanna add joints to, plus the main parent of the physics character. Now we need to add sphere collider, rigid body, and configurable joint to all of them. Now focus on this part because it's so important. You need to lock the motion on all axes for all the configurable joint you just added. Except the parent, you need to keep the motion free on all axes and lock angular motion on all axes. Also, you need to freeze rotation for the parent rigid body. Now we need to connect all joints connected body. Now let's explain how we're gonna connect them and why we're doing that. This little sphere in the bottom is the player root or main joint. This will be the only joint with free motion, and it will be not connected to anything. We will use this one to drag the character and control it. And that's explain why it have free motion. Other joints will be locked and connected to each other, because we need them to rotate only. That's how I connected them. Both of the leg joints and the head joint are connected to the pelvic joint, and the pelvic joint is connected to the player main joint. Now for some reasons when I connect the player arm to the pelvic, it acts crazy, so I'm gonna connect them directly to the main joint. Now let's connect all of them quickly and hit run. Now we need to balance the character. Select all of the joints. Make sure the joint rotation drive mode is X and YZ. Now start increasing the position spring for angular X and angular YZ until your character starts to feel stable. Try different values until you find the sweet spot for all of your joints. After many tries, I'm gonna use a high value for the lower body and the main joint, and use much lower values for both of the arms and the head. This will keep the character stable and make both of the arms and head feel soft. Now let's hit play again. And here we go, now you have a stable ragdoll that we can control. Now let's add a new script to control the character. Start with a reference for the player main joint rigid body, for the movement force and max speed, and for the rotation speed. For the jump we need the float for jump force, and to check if the player touching the ground or not, we need a transform for the ground check, radius, and player mask. And last thing, I added private variables to keep track of the player input. Now in the update, first thing we need to take the player input, the vertical and horizontal. After that we check if the player touching the ground using check sphere. And if the player is on the ground and click jump, we will add force to rigid body using vector3.up multiplied by the jump force. Now let's add another function to move the player. We start with the vector3 for the forward direction, then we multiply it with the vertical input and remove force, and we add force to rigid body using this vector3. After that I get the horizontal velocity and check if it's higher than max speed, and if it's true, I limit it to the max speed. Now we need another function to rotate the player. In the start I check the horizontal input, and if the value is so small, we just ignore it. After that, we multiply the horizontal input with the rotation speed and fixed delta time. After that, we use transform rotate to rotate the player with this amount. Now we need to call both of the function in the fixed update. Now back to Unity, add the script you just made to the character main joint game object. Create a new empty game object for the check sphere and assign the rigid body. And for now, I'm gonna set the layer mask to everything. Now we can hit run and test these values. Another good thing you can do is disable collision between your character joint. Select all your joint game objects and set them to the new layer. I added this ragdoll layer by clicking add layer. Add the new layer I want, and in the project setting, go to physics setting and make sure this layer doesn't collide with itself. Now we can start adding animation to our character. First, we need to download this script made by this man. You will find the link in the description. Now create a new script. In this script, we need the reference for the rigid body and configurable joint, another one for the animated character rigid body, and boolean to make testing each joint easier. And last thing we need is quaternion to save the start rotation of each joint. Now in Awake, get the rigid body and joint and set the initial rotation to transform local rotation. Now you can add a new function to update the joint and check if the sign position is not true, you return. And if it's not, we're gonna call the script we just downloaded, we're gonna call set target rotation local. And we need to pass the argument, the character joint, the animated rigid body local rotation, and the initial rotation. Now back to Unity, enable the character we disabled in the start, and you can disable all the children with the mesh render, because we don't wanna see this character. Now we need to select all the bone we wanna animate here and add a rigid body, and set is kinematic to true. I'm gonna disable the animator with motion. Now back to the physics character we have, select all the game objects with joint we made and add the new script. Now we need to add the rigid body from each object in the animated character to the same object in the physics character. Now we need to call the update joint function in all of these scripts. Back to the character controller script, we need a reference for the character animator and array of sync joints script. In update, I'm gonna set the animator speed parameter to the vertical input. And in Awake, we're gonna get the sync joint script in all children. In fixed update, loop through the array and call update joint in all of its elements. We are using fixed update because we are dealing with physics here. Now back to Unity, last thing you need to do is make sure the animator calling mode is always animate. Now you can hit play and test it. And here you go, now you have a ragdoll that you can control with physics and also run animation at the same time.